I like how NXT is already planting the seeds for Takeover Brooklyn. Let's talk about it.
And now you are watching Around the Point on YouTube.com. Here's your host, Heel Steven.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Around the Point here on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/HeelSteven. I'm your host, Peruvian Strong Style himself, back at it again, Heel Steven, with a new video. This will be my NXT review for June 7, 2017. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, give this video a big old thumbs up, drop your comments down below, and above all else, share this video through your entire social media, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. Let's get this everywhere. Like I said, I like how NXT is already developing some matches, some feuds for TakeOver Brooklyn. So it seems. The show kicked off with Heavy Machinery versus Lars Sullivan and Victor Andrews, who I gotta keep it 100 with you guys. Victor Andrews looked a lot like the Lex Man if the Lex Man was tall and had gold locks on his dreads. That's just my honest opinion. Again, it's not a rib, it's not a dig at anyone. Just keeping it 100 with you guys. Totally. But the match, for what it was Lars Sullivan trying to carry his team to victory, so it seemed, against Heavy Machinery, because Lars Sullivan is the tall, giant, muscular dude, so it seemed. And then out of nowhere, Victor Andrews got arrogant and cocky and tagged himself in because he thought, hey, he could get the win for his team, but instead he got tossed around like a rag doll by Heavy Machinery until Heavy Machinery hit the double team finisher for the 1-2-3, and Lars Sullivan's on the apron and does nothing to break the pin. And when the match was over, Lars Sullivan's angry, he's mad, right? And he decides to beat up Victor Andrews even a little more than he was already beaten up, and that's how they ended that whole match. And then post-match, for what it was, we then had Roderick Strong in the ring. He cuts his promo. He talks about how he's already been at NXT for a year and how it's been a roller coaster ride for him and his family. And the one thing that he wants is to be the NXT champion. And how at one time it was Roddy versus the world, but now it's Roderick Strong and his family versus the world. And then out comes Bobby Roode. And he's pretending to cry, what have you. And he tells Roddy, you know, it's very cute what you're saying, but let's face it, you're not at my level. You're never going to beat me, what have you. But maybe one day, if you're good enough, you can get in the ring with me. But in Bobby Roode's NXT, you earn your title shots, not just handed to you. But above all else, like I said, I like how they're developing something here. Who's to say at TakeOver Brooklyn, we end up seeing Roderick Strong versus Bobby Roode for the NXT Championship? The story writes itself. Here's Bobby Roode, this rich, arrogant champion that has it all. He's glorious, right? And he always finds a way to win. Versus Roderick Strong, who is a family man, who is fighting for his family, is just like you and I. And everyone's behind him. They told you the story about Roderick Strong, where he's been, his family, what have you. And now imagine if all of that culminates at Brooklyn, at TakeOver Brooklyn, with him winning the championship from Bobby Roode. Just imagine. Just saying. Then again, who's to say that they end up doing the match in a couple weeks from now, and then after that, you know, Bobby gets disqualified or something, and then they lead up to a match at TakeOver Brooklyn. Then again, there's been talks of doing Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Roode. Hell, even people were saying, you know, Aleister Black versus Bobby Roode, but I think that's too soon right now. But I would not mind Bobby Roode versus Roderick Strong for the NXT Championship at TakeOver Brooklyn. Drop your comment down below your thoughts on that match. Do you want to see it or not? Let me the fuck know. And then we had Peyton Royce versus Sarah Logan. It was a short match. It didn't go long, but Sarah Logan, in the time that the match was, held her own. But when it was all said and done, Peyton Royce got the win, and the iconic duo celebrated. And I gotta say this overall. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay grew on me. At one time, I wasn't big on them. but they grew on me. Now, they've been in NXT for a while now. I do believe, and again, I could be wrong here, by the Raw after SummerSlam or SmackDown after SummerSlam, they get called up to the main roster. But I do feel that they'll be better off on SmackDown Live. Just my honest opinion. I could be wrong here again, but let me know down below your thoughts on that as well. And then we had a backstage segment with Andrade Cien Almas. They played the video of him losing last week to that tall Brazilian guy, which was the fluke win, what have you. And he's leaving Full Sail with this lady. He's all, like nothing happened, if you will, right? And they interviewed him to ask him about his loss, and he didn't respond. He just kept moving. And out of nowhere, we saw Tia Trinidad pop up out of nowhere, talk to Andrade Cien Almas in Spanish, pretty much saying, what's wrong with you? This is what you become. And then she slaps him. I do see Tia Trinidad becoming the manager of Andrade Cien Almas. And actually, to be real with you guys, he needs it. Because let's be real about it, he's just been there in NXT for a while now. And they've done nothing with him. Who to say they put Tia Trinidad as the manager and they actually put him up there. They put him in the mix for a championship match, what have you. At the same time, I kind of wished that NXT had like a mid-card title. Maybe a TV title or something like that. For these guys that are there, like, the Cassius Ohno, the Andrade Cien Almas, the Aleister Blacks. Just saying. Then we had Hideo Itami versus Oney Larkin, where they both beat the fuck out of each other until Hideo Itami snapped. And then he hit 3 GTSs on Oney Larkin. And then out came Cassius Ohno, wondering what the fuck is going on, what's wrong with you. And then Hideo Itami shoved Cassius Ohno, and then Ohno was hesitant about it. And then he shoved Itami back, and Itami fell, left the ring. Here's what I like about this. They're developing something between Hideo Itami and Cassius Ohno. And we all know that Cassius Ohno as well has been just chilling there in NXT, not being involved in a major storyline. And again, who's to say at TakeOver Brooklyn, they end up doing Hideo Itami versus Cassius Ohno. Two guys that can do the Japanese style. It could work, especially in Brooklyn, in that New York crowd. And who's to say they end up stealing the show at TakeOver Brooklyn. Now, also, before the match, they interviewed Hideo Itami. They asked him about him not winning the NXT Championship at TakeOver Chicago. Will he be leaving back to Japan? And he said, no, I worked hard for this. Why would I leave now to go back to Japan? Now, keep this in mind. I'm bringing this up because there's something that popped up. Apparently, Hideo Itami's contract with WWE ends at the end of the year. And there's been talk that, hey, he might end up going back to Japan after all. Now, let's assume that happens. Honestly, I have no problem with it. I do see it happening sometime in the future, him going back to Japan. Because let's face it, he's just been chilling there at NXT. And I do believe that one time Hideo Itami was going to be NXT champion. I do believe that one time he could have been up there in the main roster with the likes of Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, Neville, just to name a few. But he got hurt. And when he got hurt, they brought in Shinsuke Nakamura to be the Japanese sensation for WWE. And that was supposed to be Hideo Itami. Remember that? And then he came back. He got hurt again, which made it even more worse. And now, again, he's just chilling there at NXT. And can you imagine if they bring him to the main roster? He just does 205 Live. I mean, again, the Cruiserweight division could need more faces as well. But does he deserve that? No. And the way I look at this too is like this, okay? Hideo Itami is a good wrestler, all you want. But Shinsuke Nakamura is a whole different ball game. It's like saying, hey, Isaiah Thomas was a good basketball player, don't get me the fuck wrong. But Michael Jordan was a whole different fucking level. If you kind of get the analogy. But at the end of the day, who to say he does end up leaving or not? Time will only tell. It's only a rumor. Just keep that in mind also. Before you guys down in the comments complain, oh, you're wrong. He's not leaving yet. You're fucking full of shit right now and shit like that. Again, just a fucking rumor, right? And when all that happened with Itami and Ohno and Larkin, I thought the show was over. And I'm like, oh, okay, awesome, good. And then they mentioned the main event, which was Killian Dane and No Way Jose. And here's the problem with this. Hideo Itami snapping, that should have been the end of the show. And you could put Noe Jose, Killian Dane somewhere in the middle of the card, whatever. The match for what it was there. Killian Dane got the win. I'm going to keep it 100 with you guys. Noe Jose does nothing for me. Okay? He's a dancing Dominican for all I fucking know. But again, the match was there. Killian Dane got the win. That was NXT. Again, I like how they are developing feuds and matches for TakeOver Brooklyn. Again, I could be wrong on that. But who's to say? Drop your comment down below your thoughts on the show overall. Did you enjoy it or not? And do you see these matches being developed for TakeOver Brooklyn? I want to hear from you guys. Follow me on Twitter at HeelSteven. Make sure to like all my videos. And as always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, it's your boy Heel. And I'm out. Brah!